Bosha, and welcome back, everybody. It is your boy SoTeeko, and we are here today. Happy Star Wars Sunday. I've got another couple of videos planned out, but I want to do a little bit more work on those. So in today's upload, we're going to be talking about The Force Awakens and essentially the top 7 storylines coming out of The Force Awakens that were bastardized, squandered, forgotten about, run amok, or hornswoggled in The Last Jedi and beyond. The Force Awakens, Episode 7, was a very solid film. I don't think anybody will argue that. I think it was a replica of A New Hope. It was a very loosely followed hero's journey. You kind of got introduced to everything along the way, and it was very fine. Like, it was solid. It was so solid. I think it would be remembered as much better if what came after it was better, but unfortunately what came after it was disrespectful garbage. Respectively, I think that there were 7 storylines, 7 prominent storylines that they could hone in on, and they opted not to. So these are my 7 that I highlighted. If you guys have any more, let me know in the comment section below. If any of these are on your list, let me know. And if any of these give you a particularly strong emotional response one way or another, I'd love to know about it in the comment section below, or you can join our Discord, which is in the link, and then I'll leave a link in the comments as well, because I love talking Star Wars with you guys. And tonight we are doing Star Wars Sunday live stream on YouTube and Twitch. Make sure to come out and hang out and show out. But let's talk about the very first one that I feel like if you looked at the poster, if you looked at any of the marketing, you would feel this certain way about the first storyline I want to talk about, and that is Finn's Stormtrooper to Jedi arc. I feel like everybody was sold on this. John Boyega, a terrific actor. Finn was such a awesome character in episode 7, and to see him pick up the lightsaber and do a job. Granted, he lost. He got demoed, absolutely slaughtered by Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. But he picked up the lightsaber. I think that's more than a lot of people would do. And you saw that there was some raw potential there. That there were some raw feelings there that maybe J.J. Abrams was hinting, okay, maybe this guy does have a palpability for the Force. Maybe he does have a bit of openness for the Force. Well, unfortunately, Finn became a comedy character. He became a comedy relief character. He became a joke as opposed to a serious character that we wanted to dive into, that we wanted to explore. And I feel terrible for John Boyega, because to him, what they did with Finn and how they treated Finn, genuinely, I would be pissed off too if I'm marketed with a lightsaber. If I'm marketed holding not just a lightsaber, the lightsaber, Anakin Skywalker's, Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, if I'm holding that, and in the next movie I'm banging my head in a leaking bag, looking like an absolute joke, I'd be pissed off too. And that was the last of it. That was genuinely it. Never mentioned picking up that lightsaber again. Never mentioned feeling anything in the Force again until The Rise of Skywalker, the very last scene, he feels something. He feels Rey. But that's it. And it's like, man, Rian Johnson was not the right man for the job in that case, to continue Finn's story. But let's go to the next story. Who is Snoke? We get this powerful dark side user who is the supreme leader of the new evil empire, the First Order, the Imperial Remnant, reorganized into the First Order. Snoke's just a Strandcast clone of this failed dude who, oh, by the way, he's a puppet, and he doesn't know that he's a puppet. So that's cool. No, it's not. I would have loved if Snoke was just a very, very advanced project of either Plagueis or even Palpatine. I would have loved if he was his own guy. But to just be a Strandcast puppet, no. That kind of fell flat. I loved a whole bunch of the Snoke theories. There were a lot of outlandish ones, like he's Mace Windu or he's this, that, the other. I would have loved if Snoke was just his own dude, and I gotta be honest, that's kind of how I'm approaching Snoke, is because he's not aware of what's going on. He's not aware of he's in control of, or who's in control of him. He's not aware of it. He is just a guy. So in my writing, and I get to write Snoke, it's really cool. Snoke is his own character, and as he should have been. I feel like they squandered Snoke. I feel like they introduced him. This is the new evil emperor, and they kind of squandered him. Kind of made the payoff feel like shit. Because, like, okay, they kill him, and then what? Oh, they just go back to how it was before. Cool. Yeah, I don't know, man. The next one, this is another really big one. Squandered. Who are Rey's parents? Who is Rey? To make a Strandcast of Palpatine who's non-Force sensitive, named Dathan, to make him leave, go to this backwater mining planet, farming planet, meet a girl, boy loves girl, boy and girl have lunch together, boy and girl fall in love with each other, girl's family loves the boy, boy loves the girl, birds and the bees, we get Rey. Dathan never... And this is the one thing that I also really hate, that we'll get to. I don't want to tangent off. Rey could have been her own person. She could have been nobody. She didn't have to be a Palpatine. She didn't have to be a Kenobi. She didn't have to be related to anybody. She could have just been, nobody. But they were setting it up. Who are Rey's parents? Who are her parents? Who are her parents? She's looking for her parents. She's waiting for her parents. Her parents, her parents, her parents, her parents. For the payoff to be that minimal, to be that marginalized, they're nobody. Sold you off for drinking money. Really? Again, I have to ask, why was this guy put in charge? And to talk about it, like, Rey's parents were really cool. Dathan, great guy. loved his family, protected his family, did the right things. Rey's mom, Miriam, fantastic pilot, great person, beautiful woman, probably Force sensitive, but didn't know it because she was just that great of a pilot. I feel like most pilots in the Star Wars universe do have a little bit of Force sensitivity. Like, Poe Dameron absolutely is Force sensitive. He's just an idiot. But Rey's parents, man, they're so cool. And I do like them. I just hate that they're connected to Palpatine. I really do. I think it's lame. Shout out to Adam Christopher and Shadows of the Sith. Definitely give that book a read, because that book is kind of like the equivalent of what I'm doing. It kind of dives into the background of Rey, where I'm diving into the background of Ben Solo. And I know Claudia Gray and Bloodlines did a job there, but I don't like how Ben Solo found out that his grandfather was Vader. I think it was so lazy. So I'm retconning that in my own writing. I just wish that this was taken a little bit more seriously, because Rey's parents was the dialogue for 2 years. Who are Rey's parents? That was the dialogue for 2 years. Who's Rey's parents? Who's Snoke? What's going to happen with Finn? And what else were we talking about? What caused Ben's turn? And I have my own little theory. I have my own little idea for the breakdown that I will do eventually, but to talk about it, because we're talking about The Force Awakens. When Ben is standing there with his father, Han Solo, and he says, I'm being torn apart. I can't handle this pain anymore. Just want this pain to end. I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Can you help me? I want to be free from this pain, he tells his father. After years of manipulation, after years of lying and gaslighting and being drip-fed by Snoke, just false information about his parents. Like, Ben knew his parents loved him so much. But Snoke, over the course of Ben's time at the Jedi Academy, was like, oh yeah, your parents got rid of you because they're afraid of you, dude. They know you're powerful. They know what you can accomplish. Like, I doubt that you could accomplish it, but yeah, that's why they sent you off. It's because they're afraid of you, dude. That's why they were trying to have another kid, so they can get rid of you and have another kid. I think that's genuinely Ben Solo. And then somewhere in the back of his mind is Snoke telling him, kill him, you coward. You've wanted this your entire life, when in reality he didn't. But Snoke's like, this will unlock your path to Vader. Do it. And Ben does. He kills his father. And I think instantly, when Han Solo touches his face and he gives them those I love you eyes, I forgive you eyes, Han's not angry at his son. Han loved Ben more than anything in the world. But when Ben killed him, he knew that he kind of had to sacrifice himself to get his son back. And that was Han Solo dying for the cause, dying to save his son. And I know that sounds so crazy because his son's the one that killed him, but Kylo Ren was this idea in Ben's mind. Kylo Ren was a liar. He lied to himself, fabricated his life's backstory, painted this image of who Ben Solo thought that he was, but he wasn't. Kylo Ren was none of these things. Ben Solo had a good childhood. He was loved, he was cared for, he was taken care of, and he had lots of love around him. But I mean, you guys will see when you read my book what happens with Ben. It's stuff that, you know, all of us go through. It's just some of us make the right and wrong choices to cope with it. So I think the mishandling of Ben Solo and Kylo Ren and his fall, I mean, that's what led me to write my book in the first place, detailing Ben's fall. But also, to coincide with that, why did Luke exile himself? Why was Luke all by himself out here? And I feel like this gets taken out of context and kind of disrespects Luke a whole lot, especially with how they wrote it. You have to do a lot of implications. You have to do so much of the writing for the writer, which is why I think Rian Johnson's just so lazy and should never have been given the opportunity to write Star Wars. And yeah, I'm protective about the IP that I love. I think he did a terrible job. I think I don't think he's a Star Wars fan. And you can be a writer and write for Star Wars and not be a Star Wars fan. Tony Gilroy, prime example. But he's a Star Wars fan now, he says. Why did Luke exile himself? That was a massive question. What was Luke Skywalker up to? We could not wait to see episode 8 just for Luke. And as soon as we get there, it's like instantly a kick to the nuts. And then 6 and 7, the two characters that I really liked coming out of TFA, Poe Dameron and General Hux, Armitage Hux. They were so cool. The characters, the actors, the portrayals. You had Hux, this really squirmy, wiry, very like you could tell he grew up in the Empire. And then you have Poe Dameron, you could tell he grew up in the rebellion of the Empire. Like, there's such polar opposites that they had so much friction. And Poe got relegated to a comedy character. Hux got relegated to a comedy character. Both you really didn't take serious after The Force Awakens. And again, Rian Johnson, great job making your mom jokes in the middle of battle. That's so sick. I think that those two got squandered. I think Finn's Stormtrooper to Jedi arc got squandered. I think Snoke got wasted. I think Rey's parents got wasted. And I think that they kind of just bastardized Ben's turn to the darkness. And I think they told fans to go F yourself with how they handled Luke Skywalker. So those are my big details and big talking points that I felt got squandered after The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is an excellent film, right? It's a solid first movie of a trilogy. But you have to admit, it got ran amok. It got taken advantage of. And it sucks because there was such potential in all of these characters. But it just all got squandered. And we never will see what a good sequel trilogy will look like, you know? It sucks, but that's what happens when you make really bad decisions at the top. And I think just moving forward in Star Wars, and we're going to talk about this in another video soon, you have to make the right decisions. You have to put the right people in charge. And I'm hoping that this IP does take those next steps in the right direction. But it's been your boy SoTeeko. I do appreciate each and every single one of you. And above all else, guys, make sure to stay safe. Tell your mother that you love her, and with peace, knowledge, and serenity, may the Force be with you. I'm out. Peace.